Good morning, all. Yes, it's morning. And it was a cold morning this morning, so I thought of soup. Cold for us is in the 50s right now, this time of year. So I was thinking soup. I'm in the mood for soup for breakfast. And I'm going to make a chowder out of just stuff that I have hanging around the house. I didn't go shopping specially for this. So what I did was I boiled some water, so you wouldn't have to stand there and watch me boil water. I don't even want to watch me boil water. And here's what I have. Okay, here's my ideas. I have this Engine 2 brand, which I told you before. I don't even need to read the label. I know it's compliant. And this is butternut squash kale. Why not? So I'm going to take, let's see, I put not even a half, maybe a half a pan of water in here and boiled it down. Now it's down to like a quarter to a third of the water in there because the moisture came out of it. And I'm going to put, I don't know, like 7 of these in here. Does that look like enough? Let's do 9. Why not? Odd numbers. And I'm just going to let those boil for a minute, because that's going to be at least 2 or 3 soups for me. And then I'm like, what else do I have in the house? Does this look familiar at all to you? It should, because this is a baked potato in foil that as soon as I take them out of the oven, I just throw them in foil. You can bake them in foil if you want. I don't. I just throw them in foil and throw them in the fridge. And I'm like, okay, chowder to me when I was a kid had potatoes in it. So I eat potatoes, and these potatoes I don't cook completely all the way because I know I'm going to cook them in another way. And there's a little bit of brown going on inside because I've had them in the foil, and it does discolor food. So I'm just going to chop it into bite-sized pieces, whatever that is for you. I don't like to take big bites because I, for some reason, choke on food. I don't know. My husband's always reminding me to take smaller bites. So I take smaller bites, and you make whatever bite size you like. So I got these little cubes of potato, okay? And it's all cooked. But I'm going to throw them in there and get them warm. Whew. And like I said, it's not completely cooked anyway. So it's going to cook about the same amount of time as my raviolis, which say on the package 3 or 4 minutes. That's nothing, right, for a soup? Good. So what else do I have in my refrigerator? Ugh. I have this cute little crock pot because I bought this because all my crock pots are made for family size, and there's only me and my husband, but we have a lot of dinner parties. And when I want to make beans or rice, and it's just for me for the week, I needed this. So what I did this week, again, I was in the mood for soup, so I made some just bean soup. And what I put in there was water, and then this Better Than Bouillon. It's just a paste, and if you want to know how to open a jar, if you have trouble opening jars, burp it on the bottom, and then, yep, every time, easy. It just needs a little bit of a pop. So I put a little bit of that in some water, put some dry beans in there, threw it on my crock pot for the day. When I came home at the end of the day, I had bean soup. And then you could add any vegetables you want in there too. So I'm letting it rest for everything to go to the bottom because I want to take some of this stock because I'm done with the bean soup. Now I want just like some baked beans, and I'll take what's left over of the beans and just add some barbecue sauce, and I can just eat those for the rest of the week. So I got my ladle, and I'm just scooping off the top to add some of that broth into my water because I want a lot of flavor in this soup. And normally, like my grandfather owned a restaurant in Midway when I was growing up called Gomley's Cafe. And he was known for his seafood, his chowder, his clam chowder. It took me many years to get the recipe out of him. And now that I can't eat it anymore, Grandpa, I got it from him before we lost him years ago. One day I was driving with him because every Thursday we had a date, and we would go out and we'd go grocery shopping, run his errands for him, and then we'd go out to eat, and it was always Chinese food. And one day I'm driving, and he goes, okay, you ready? And I'm like, for what? And he says, you take 50 pounds of potatoes. I'm like, oh God, it's the recipe. And I can't stop and write this down. I'm driving. But he told me what the recipe was, and I shared it with my sister, and we kind of broke it down. She came up with something. I came up with something, and it was amazing. So he would use some kind of fat or lard or, you know, he didn't use bacon, but I forget what it was called. I don't even use that stuff anymore. But anyway, something fatty and flavorful and salty to start out. And then you put some onions in there. And I'm not using onions today because I really didn't feel like cutting and cooking up an onion, which is so simple. But if I had it in the freezer, it would have gone in there before water went in it because I like to add flavor to every level, okay? So I've got all that stock in there. And I've still got a whole huge pot of beans here. So I'm gonna add some of the beans. Why not? Because that's gonna add a lot of like protein and fiber and everything good that I need. And I'm just gonna put a little, because it's not a bean chowder, it's a, let's say, corn chowder in my mind. I have no idea. I've never done this before, like I tell you about all my videos. And I was gonna add some more of this broth paste. See, it's a paste. I was gonna add more, but I don't know that I need it because it seems like I had a lot from that other pot. So I'm gonna taste it because I added water. I thought it might be watered down, you know, but it's not about a vegetable flavor. Oh, you know, that's really good. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to put any more in because I don't want it to be about the vegetable flavor. And you know, before I would have used a chicken stock of some kind in there, but I'm not doing that anymore. And I'm going to, of course, corn because I want a corn chowder. So I get these steamable bags, so you could just steam them in the microwave if you want, or do whatever you want with them. And I'm just going to throw some in here. It's frozen, completely frozen. And we do a lot of that. I'll save a little bit for another recipe because I always am looking for just a little bit of corn for something that I'm working on. So let's see what it's looking like. Okay, there's some stuff in there. And here's another thing I do. When I make a soup, I usually like to take, like, if you ever had wonton soup or anything like that from a Chinese restaurant, they'll shred up some lettuce and put it fresh in the bottom of your bowl before they pour the soup over. So you get that crunch element. Well, I don't seem to have any lettuce right now. Oh, you know what? I do, but it's not the kind I would use in this. But I do have kale, and there's kale in the Engine 2 butternut squash raviolis. So let's mirror that, right? So you could put it some fresh in here. Now kale breaks down a little harder than lettuce would, right? So I'm going to actually put it in the soup too. But I am going to put just a tiny bit in the bottom of my bowl so I have a little extra texture going on, you know? And now I'm going to put the rest of the kale that I chopped up, which isn't much. It's not a kale soup. It's turning out to be quite the soup that is not a natural chowder as I would see it. But you know what? Who cares? It's your soup. It's your house. Now, I've never made these Engine 2 raviolis before. I've never tasted them. So I'm just going to test when I break it open what happens. Yeah, it's completely cooked. Let's see. It's hot. Oh, yummy. That's really good. All right, I'm putting it back in. Yeah, it's my spoon, but I'm the only one that's going to eat this, so I don't care. Something also Grandpa always added into his chowder was milk. Now, I have almond milk, and I have my organic creamer made with coconut milk, which will be a little more rich than the almond milk would be. So I'm just going to put, I don't measure. Let me eyeball it for you. Quarter of a cup of the creamer maybe. And maybe I'll do the same on the almond milk. Okay. Because a chowder is about the milkiness, right? But one thing Grandpa did not do was he did not add flour. He didn't thicken his chowder. You know those really thick chowders that you get? Nothing against them, they're really good. But his was more of a soup, and that's what we really loved about it. So that's where I'm keeping it, and it definitely needs more creaminess. So there might eventually be a whole cup of milk product, non-dairy milk product in there. There was also always a dob of butter on top of that. I don't eat butter. But once in a while, now this is technically a dairy product, butter buds. I will just sprinkle a little of that when I really need something that's going to add that buttery effect, you know. So I'm just going to sprinkle a little just for that and a little in here. I really don't want to use dairy, so I'm going easy on that. And let's see if I can get it back in the cabinet. Yep. Okay. And, oh, there's always pepper at the end of it. So I'm going to throw some pepper in there. I'm just doing a shaker. That was a lot. But that's kind of what I remember, that taste, having that black pepper in there. And there's, of course, if there's potatoes, there's going to be a little bit of salt. Okay, and you know your bouillon has salt, so you want to go easy on that. Just a hair in there, and I think I want a hair of the pepper in my own bowl. Because I'm just used to that flavor, you know. Let's see what we got going here. It's completely cooked, I can tell you that. Could that go any quicker? I mean, I don't think so. And I'm really hungry because I haven't had breakfast yet. It's 9:30. What I do is I get up in the morning on days that I'm not going out for a run for work, and I will take a walk if it's weather permitting. I'll get on my incumbent bike inside the house because right now my body's not working for my outdoor bike. And I don't think it's volleyball night, no. But on days we'll do that. I take care of the cats, I feed them water and do the scooping and all that. I read my Bible, and then while I'm doing all of that, I'm having a little protein shake, and then a few hours later, I'll actually eat some breakfast. So this is the breakfast time. I'm going to try to get a little bit of everything. Whatever vegetables you want to add, go ahead and add them. Whatever's in your house. Don't go out specially to make a soup. Have stuff in your house. You know, you always have leftover vegetables, and you should always have some kind of plant-based milk, although you don't have to have it in there. You should always have a pot of beans or a can of beans. I have a whole pantry that I just fill up with beans. And so if I don't have time or don't want to cook them dry, which it's super simple with a crock pot, so there's no excuse. But I always have a can. If it's like a last second thing, I just want to throw some beans on my salad, I got a can. I've got cans of vegetables too. So then this is what we've got. And you can see all the yummy stuff that I threw in there. That kale looks so good. I mean, I just love kale. And whew, it's a hot bowl. And we're going to taste it. It's not too hot. Let me test that broth. Hold on. Wow. I'm always burning my mouth off for you guys. I'll tell you. You know, like I said, I've never done this before on this particular recipe. But I'm used to making the old-fashioned chowder from way back when, but I just don't do that anymore. And I am developing recipes in real time, and I'm sharing them with you. This is not the taste of a chowder that I remember, but see, that's one of the things you have to do, is get your mindset different. You can't expect a vegan, plant-based chowder to taste like a clam chowder with the cream and the butter and the clams and the fat that it starts with. You've got to say, okay, this is my new chowder, and it's delicious. It really is delicious. It's a soup. To me, it's a soup because I grew up on chowder, and chowder is one of my favorite things. I don't know why I'm saying chowder. I never say chowder. I'm from Boston. It's Chowdah with an AH. But anyway, I think I'm just trying to enunciate so you can finally understand me because I talk so stupid fast. Anyway, it's not like a chowder that you would know, but it's really delicious soup. And I really like the addition of the raviolis in there. If you didn't want to do that, you could add some rice. A brown rice pasta is really good. You don't even need that. Add some more potatoes. Add some more beans. Keep the beans out. Add whatever vegetables you like. I have some corn on the cob. I could have just shredded that right in there. But I had the frozen, so let's just use it. And I wanted it fast because I'm really hungry. I'm going to eat this whole bowl of soup, and I might even have a piece of toast with it. You want a whole grain, really great toast for you, like Dave's in the red package, Dave's Killer Bread. I'm going to toast up a piece of that, and I might even put some almond butter on it because I just think I want something else with it, and I won't eat a roll and butter, you know, so that's what I'm going to have for breakfast, and I hope you try it out. Add what you want to it, take away what you didn't like in there, and tell me what you think and what you came up with, and maybe I'll have some more recipes for soups for myself. So I thank you, and also to the woman, and I'm sorry I can't remember names, who told me that I should turn my camera sideways and sent me a link on different things like that. I thank you. I tried it today. I have to lean over a little bit more because I haven't still figured out how to set it up right. But I hope you're happy with this video because there's no black lines on it today for you. And you have a great day. Don't forget to subscribe, share, comment, like, and love.